Brought to you by Charity Mobile. Switch to the phone company that supports your beliefs. All plans start under $50 before taxes and surcharges. Use promo code TRADITION at CharityMobile.com for a special offer.
I'm always asked, hey Anthony, when are you going to present some good news for once? And I present good news when it's available. From a certain point of view, today's story is good news. For others, it's not so much. But we have good news. The FSSP, the Fraternal Society of St. Peter, have record numbers of seminarians. It's great news. They're producing more young, traditionally minded priests who will offer the traditional sacraments. And they have more seminarians than some countries do. And in fact, some entire countries, the more down the modernist rabbit hole they've gone, the more extreme in their break in the historic connection of theologically to the Catholic Church, the fewer the seminarians those countries have. This is a remarkable story. And it shows that time is not on the side of the worst bishops' conferences in the church. That the absolute worst bishops are going to have to face reality at some point. Or they'll be forced to face reality when they are inevitably replaced by better bishops. And it wouldn't take much to be better than the bishops we're about to talk about. So we go to Info Vaticana for this headline. The FSSP has more seminarians than the entire German synodal church. Now, Info Vaticana has a lot of pop-ups. I mean a lot of pop-ups. Ads. So I took the text and I put it into a document. I'll bring it on screen. A link to the story today will be in the show notes at returntotradition.org. Read it for yourself. You'll need a translation extension through your Chrome browser to make it work. But this story is incredible. There are a lot of FSSP seminarians. There's also a lot of Institute of Christ the King seminarians and SSPX seminarians. The traditional priestly fraternities are generally flourishing. Now, they don't have the seminarians needed to meet demand. And especially for groups like the SSPX, they also don't have access to the properties necessary to meet the demand they have. But all those resources are also increasing. And as a consequence, some have posited that the future of the church is in fact traditionalist. We'll see. I think sanity will be restored to the church before it gets to that place. But read these numbers any way you want. The more further down the rabbit hole of modernism and the new synodal religion the certain places go, the worse their vocations numbers are. You can't spin that. So we go here to the article for your feel-good news story of the day. Quote, while the official church in Germany is breaking records for historic lows in priestly ordinations, with just 19 nationwide compared to 557 in 1962, a traditional community like the priestly fraternity of St. Peter is achieving a milestone on its own. 25 new deacons ordained this year, 13 in Germany and 12 in the United States. What a sight. Didn't we agree that tradition scares young people? It seems not. Judging by these images, these seminarians don't seem traumatized by a cassock or distanced from the people of God by using Latin. Rather, they radiate joy, reverence, and youth, the opposite of what is usually seen at synod meetings, where geriatric melancholy and cardboard liturgical creativity abound. While the German Bishops' Conference finances campaigns to bless James Martin-type couples, drafts documents that question the priesthood, and dreams of a parallel council that will reinvent the church from Cologne, real seminarians, those who exist, not those who appear in dreams of an inclusive community, are training with the FSSP. Ironically, many do so in Germany, the country that promotes the theological emptying of parishes, but fails to completely empty seminaries of tradition. Father Juan Manuel Magongora summed it up a few days ago. The modernist drift in Germany, disguised as synodality, only brings fruits of secularization and emptiness. But some still believe the solution is more synods, as if a hemorrhaging patient needs more bloodletting. End quote. What a way to describe the problem. And they're not wrong. It's not a coincidence, actually, that the place with that with that big of a problem with heresy, Germany is also producing that many traditional seminarians. The traditional priestly fraternities thrive in Europe. Now, the United States is, without question, the place where you can find the most traditional mass offerings anywhere in the world, outside of maybe France. But there's still a fairly large presence of the FSSP in Germany, and in an environment in the church like what you see in Germany, with most of the bishops either too afraid to say no to the German synodal way or openly advocating for breaking with every traditional teaching of the church in order to make their new inclusive new synodal religion, that you will have young men called by God to step in to fill the gaps that are coming in Germany. The new synodal church in Germany is hemorrhaging members. People are leaving. I mean, after all, why would they want to stay? When you question every teaching of the church and seek to change it, you destroy magisterial authority. You destroy any claim that the church has to having the truth. You can't claim the church has the truth when you want to change literally everything, and that is what the German bishops are trying to do. So it's little wonder that in that environment, a group like the FSSP, who are free mostly from the influence of those bishops when it comes to the formation of seminarians, manages to draw quite a large number, more so than in the entire country of Germany. Now, 12 seminarians isn't exactly, the numbers needed to provide the sacraments to every Catholic who wants or needs them, but it's a good start. We'll go back to this article for some more details that will probably put a smile on your face. Here are the details. Quote, young versus old progressives. Though these aren't theories. According to El Debate, young German clergy are turning their backs on the progressive drift of their bishops. They want nothing to do with listening processes to invent new forms of a fluid, dogma-free church. They prefer, how scandalous, to pray, confess, celebrate Mass worthily, and study St. Thomas. They are so disoriented that some even believe in transubstantiation. And of course, since they don't fit into the open and synodized seminaries, they go to closed communities, like the FSSP, where vocations miraculously flourish, parishes grow, and there's no need to import clergy from the Congo to have a Sunday Mass. The fact that 25 young people, most of them under 30, are being ordained deacons in a community that celebrates exclusively the traditional Mass should set off alarm bells in the Episcopal offices. But no, they prefer to continue talking about inclusion, new lay ministries, and how to evangelize with non-patriarchal language. Spoiler alert. Evangelization begins when you believe in the gospel, and tradition, whether you like it or not, remains the source where many young people find faith, not nostalgia. Do you want vocations? Pray, teach doctrine, celebrate Mass with dignity. Don't you want them? Then don't complain when your seminaries seem like echoing waiting rooms. End quote. Utterly harsh takedown, 100% warranted by Info Vaticana. There's a reason Info Vaticana is not widely loved in Europe. They are very much like LifeSite in the United States, except without the nice touch that LifeSite tries to have. And I say that with utmost respect to LifeSite News. Info Vaticana doesn't seem to have that desire to be as charitable as LifeSite sometimes tries to be. Again, not a criticism of LifeSite by any stretch. It's just nice to see somebody take the kid gloves off when it comes to the German bishops. And the German bishops desperately need someone to take the kid gloves off, preferably somebody in Rome. So perhaps these vocations numbers will get to the Vatican and will get to the Holy Father. And maybe, just maybe, he can turn his attention to the state of the church in Germany and find a resolution to that situation that doesn't lead to an overt schism. The German church is already in schism with the rest of the church. Just look at the things that they're promoting. But perhaps, just perhaps, Pope Leo XIV can stop this from happening, from getting any worse. We shall see. That's why you pray for the Pope. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments, please. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It absolutely helps. So does sharing this on social media. That helps too. And as always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.